Hi, welcome to KenteCode AI Academy. Today I'm going to start our first lesson, and this lesson basically is on installing the softwares that are needed for the Python and SQL course. So I'm going to quickly go through some of the softwares that we need to install. And also, I want to quickly go through over how to use the Teams platform. So those who have problem using Teams, they can be able to follow as the class goes on. Okay, so let's go here. This is how Teams looks like. If you come to Teams, this is Teams. On my desktop, you have Teams at the top. You have the chat. When you click on the chat, at the corner over here, you'll see the chat as at the top. So in this chat, you see history of all your chats that you have with people. You see all the history, the recent chats. You see them over here. So let's say, for example, this one is the current academic cohort chat. When you click on it, you can go inside and then you can do your communication and stuff over there. So if you go to this chat, for example, if you look at the top, the name of the chat, you see the chat. If there are files that are uploaded in this particular chat, you see them over here. If there's some photos, you see all those things at the top of the chat. Okay, so this is where you go to the chat and then you'll be able to access chats either you're having with other people or group chats. And the next one is the meeting place. So in the meeting place, you will see all your meetings that have been scheduled, and then you can join any of the ones when it's time to go for that class. Okay. That's what you see over here. For example, there was a meeting yesterday. There's a meeting coming next week. So I normally go there and click on this link when it's time to start the lesson for that class, for that session. So this is where you can find that information. Another thing you can go to is the communities. So the communities is generally across the entire KenteCode Academy students. So you have communities here. I will be uploading files. So if you're looking for books that I have for the course, purchase for the course, you go to the communities and then you see the books in that section over there in the communities. So that is very important. That's where you find them. Now, if there are general announcements, I will also put that in the community section. So communities is for all cohorts across years to come. Everybody will be in the community. So if you don't find yourself in the community session, then you should let me know so that I can add you to the community session. So that is community. So know that the communities are different from chats. The chat is based on the cohort. Each cohort will have their own chat, so they can talk in that particular chat for the cohort. But the community is across all cohorts, where you can see files of information, like if there are job openings, I will post them in the community section. So everybody who went through the program will be able to see that job posting in the community. So you look out for that. And you can also go to the calendar section to see the meetings that you have. For example, my calendar is showing that I have next upcoming meeting for the session. This is over here. And the last thing here is your activities, things that you are doing over time. You can also see that information over there. So if you want to start a new chat with somebody in Teams, you just go here, click like this, the chat thing, enter the person's name, then you start communication with that person. Okay, that's how you can start a new chat. There's Copilot option. This is for if you have Premium, you can use the Copilot. It's also here where you can ask the chatbot questions and get answers to whatever it is using the Copilot chatbot. So, but that is not necessary if you don't have the Microsoft Copilot. I don't think you see these things over here. Okay, so that is basically how the Teams is set up. So for the current cohort, the chat session is here. So if I go to files, that will be the next thing. I have listed of the things that are peculiar to this cohort. You can see in here is information about the cohort that is shared. Everything that the cohort will be going through this session very soon. So we see all the softwares we have to install, which is the main point for this particular session, to go and install all the necessary softwares. Okay. So you see this is here. So this file is what contains the information of things that we are going to install right now. Every session we will have an agenda that can be found in the file over here that gives you the agenda for the meeting. So like in this particular session, I'm going to be going overview of Teams as I did, then overview of the curriculum. So I'll go through the overview of the curriculum next. So let's quickly go through the overview of the curriculum. So you can find the curriculum session over here on this side. Okay, this is the curriculum. And the curriculum is, so for now, let's say for the first time, I'm going to show how we set up the software. That's the first thing, just we set up all the softwares that are necessary for the course, and then we start from there. And then the next thing after setting up the software, we will go to installing, going to tutorials on each of the topics that are over here. Okay. So that is short, and the books that are for this Python and SQL session, the books are over here, Python for data analysis, and then we have the practical SQL, and those books are the ones that I was showing in the community session. So you can find the books in the community session and then get it. So every week we are going to have quizzes. Every topic will have the quizzes to go with it, and then every 2 weeks, current schedule, we have an assignment to do. All these assignments are by individuals, and quizzes are individual. But at the end of this particular session, we will be doing a project, and that will be a group project. So you fill in, you make sure you have all this information ready. So this is what you'll be using. The videos that are recorded for each session will be added in this particular link. So for example, this video I'm recording now will go here. That will be the first video for environment and software setup. And then the next topic will be getting started with Python, which I'll record after this session. So that is the curriculum we have going on for this particular cohort. It's a 16-week for this particular Python and SQL session. So that is what is there for now. Cool. So the next thing I want to go with is we need to install some software. Okay, there's nothing in there. We need to install some software. That is the main goal. We want to install our softwares that we are going to use for the Python and SQL. So I will go over, and then we go step by step to download the software, and then we install the software. So during the orientation session, we went through the first and second step. So I'm not going to repeat that. Installing the virtual Oracle VirtualBox and the extension pack, and then the Windows 11 ISO. So this is not mandatory to have this these two. So if you have Mac and maybe you're having problem, maybe don't try it. If you don't have enough RAM or to run this VirtualBox and then install VM, don't try, just leave those things aside. So we are going to say that if you are in the orientation session and you have this one done, then fine, you can, if you want to use it, just continue the installation steps that we are going to layoutness in that particular virtual box. Okay, but if you don't have the virtual box, you can just install on your regular machine, on your machine directly, to follow the tutorial. And Mac users have to install the software that is peculiar to Mac for them. So for each of the softwares we are going to use, the goal is, so I'm skipping this side, I'm skipping this one. So we are going to go with installing the Python. We're going to go over installing Python. Okay, so we install Python. First, you need to download the Python. Using this, you have to go to the links over here. Okay, the links are here. Like Python, you go to Python. First one is Python. So you go to the link, Python link here. Okay, and just go there. Python 13, Python 3.1, 3.11. Scroll down to the bottom of this. I am on Windows and I'm going to do this tutorial only based on Windows. Okay, so I'm going to just click Windows installer. This is Windows, and I'm going to click on this, and this is going to download the Python for me. And if I want to check it, it's going to be in my download folder. Okay, so that is how I'm going to get the Python. And then just go ahead and download all of these. What I did was I created a folder that I'm using called Academy, and I have software. Then I'll put all my software inside the Academy folder. Okay, so that everything is at one place for me to follow. So you can do that, create a folder, download all your software somewhere that you can reinstall if needed anytime. So go ahead and download Python, download Visual Studio. You can just go to this, click on the link, go to here, and then download this Visual Studio. So Windows 10 or 11, so you download it, click on download, and it should be downloaded for you in your download folder. The same, go and download Postgres SQL, and the PG admin, just go here. Okay, click on this one. Okay, click on this. We are going to use the latest at the time of recording here is 18.1. So we are going to just click on download. We are going to download the Windows version. So we click on download, and then it will download that and put it into our download folder. Okay, and then the next software we have is Git for Windows. So for Git for Windows, the link is here. I click on the link. Okay, I go for Git for Windows. I'm going to use Windows Git. I just click here to download the latest. So whatever is the latest, I'm going to click on it and download it. So that will also be downloaded. Okay, in my download folder. Then I'm going to go to Git for Windows. So anything above, beyond that, we are going to leave that and then set it up later. But let's first of all go now and install our Python, Visual Studio Code, Postgres, and Git for Windows. So those are the four we are going to install now on our system. Okay, and I said if you don't have the virtual machine, no need to try to install the virtual machine if you haven't attended the orientation session. Just go ahead and then continue with just installing this regularly on your own machine and then use it. Okay, but some people also have the virtual machine. So if you want to install everything in the virtual machine can be challenging for some people for the first time. So I would say, hey, if it's giving you a problem, just go with installing it on your own machine. But if you have the virtual machine, yesterday during the orientation we set it up, so it should be installed and ready to go. This is a virtual machine for what we did yesterday. So those who have it and they want to install in the virtual machine, then fine. You can go to the settings for the virtual machine. If you go to the session, this might look different for people, but if you go to settings, you can actually share the folder that has your software. You see, you have your software that you downloaded, all your software folder. So you go to shared folders session over here. If you click on this plus folder plus in the corner over here, you add it, and then the folder path you can just browse to that particular software where you install it. So I have it here, software. So let me just go and say I just want to have the Academy folder available in my VirtualBox. So I'll select the Academy folder for now. I select it like this, and I want to call it Academy also in the VirtualBox. You don't have to do this if you haven't done anything with virtual machines and stuff like that, because this tutorial is assuming you already done that. If not, just don't do this part. You don't have it, don't worry about it. Okay, so we have it. Make this read only means that you want to have it, you know. So you can only read only means when it's in your VM, you can only read. You can not update fast over there, but you want to be able to update and do things in that environment. So okay, this one software, select the software. So I'm selecting the software. Okay, I'm selecting only the software, and I'm mapping it to software. So let's say only softwares I need all the softwares, and I need the softwares in there. I could mount also the Academy. All of them should be able to mount. Or maybe I probably map. Yes, I mapped already. So let me show. You can map anything. I already mapped already the other one in my thing, so it's making it not easy. So if you haven't mounted anything before, so I'm mounting now only the software folder in this tutorial, that I want to see this software folder in my VirtualBox. So I say okay, then now that software folder will now be available in my VirtualBox, and then I can say okay. So now when it's now available in my VirtualBox, so to start your VirtualBox and have it ready so you can work in it, if you double click on this session, it will start your VirtualBox. Okay, yeah. So this can be a little confusing for people who haven't done anything with VirtualBoxes before. That is why I said, hey, you don't have to worry about using the VirtualBox. Okay. But I just want to show it to people who might have it, that okay, once you have the VirtualBox set up and you have the Windows installation as we did in the orientation setting, everything is set up for you. You have a machine that is totally clean, is new, like a new Windows machine on your existing machine. So that machine now, you can use it to do whatever you want to do inside that machine, and you can delete that machine and without affecting anything about your computer. So for example, I have installed mine and it's working. As you see, I've now logged into that virtual machine that I have created, and then what I'll do now is I'm going to try to install everything that I'm going to discuss in this session in this particular virtual machine. That way, is installing in the virtual machine and installing on your regular PC is the same. There's no difference. It's the same way. Installation of software is the same everywhere. So I'm just quickly going to go ahead and then start the installation. Let me minimize this. Okay, now because I have mapped, so now this is my VirtualBox. Because I have mapped the software folder in my VirtualBox, when I go to folder session in VirtualBox, the VirtualBox is just simply a machine. It's a computer virtually, but it's still a machine. So if you go to your drives, you can see, you know, the things that you have mapped. Okay, so you can see you have mapped the Academy and then the software. So I can directly, the software that I've downloaded on my own machine, they are now available in the VirtualBox for me. Okay, so I can directly install from here without installing it on my main machine, but I'm just installing it in the VirtualBox. So that's the point of using the virtual machine. This is the virtual machine. The VirtualBox is the software to create a virtual machine. So what we have here is called a VM. So this is the virtual machine. So let's go step by step and install the software that we need. So installing this software is the basic requirement for the Python and SQL. So in order to do the Python and SQL part of the KenteCode AI Academy Generative AI and Automation course, you need to have Python and SQL setup in the beginning for just the Python and SQL session. So we are going to install Python in this tutorial, and then we are going to install also Postgres, and then Python, VS Code, Postgres. Those are the most the things that we need. So whether you are using your personal laptop, just your regular laptop, or the virtual machine, you have to install those in the machine. So let's go ahead and start working on that installation. So I have my software packed in my software folder. So let's start first by installing Python. So I have this is new, fresh. I don't have anything on there. So I'm going to start by installing my Python. Okay. I want to install my Python first. Then I'll install Visual Studio Code. Yeah. So let's go. I have the Python downloaded. So now I'm installing the Python. So one thing I like to do is when I want to install Python especially, no, cancel. No. Do you want to cancel? No. When I want to install Python especially, I always go in my C drive, okay, because you can install different type of Python. I like to give it a name that tells the version of Python that I'm installing. So for example, for this one, I'm installing Python 13 in my C drive. So I will normally go and say Python 13.313. Okay, that tells me this is Python 13, so 313. Okay, that tells me that this is Python 313. So as I said, you can have Python 313. That's the one we are using for this course. As I said, you can use Python 313. You can have Python 3112. The latest at this time is 314, but we are going one version back and get 313. And that's what we are going to use for this class. Okay, so we have Python 313 folder here. So when I go to installing the Python, which is here, when I go to the installation, okay, I am going to choose custom installation. Okay, yeah, I'm going to use I'm going to use custom installation so that I can choose the path where the Python will be installed. If you see in the beginning, it's installed now, it's going to install on its own default place that it wants to install, but I don't want that. I want to have a custom installation. This applies to VMs or computer. This time, let's forget, we don't have, everything is the same for all systems. I want to do custom installation because I want it to go to a particular place and select all the things here. Fine, just select everything. Optional, just select everything. This will not break anything about your Python installation. So I go to next, and I say, as I'll say here, install it for all users, and then you see it automatically pick up my the path. But if this is not shown, just go to browse and then go to your C drive. Your C drive is going to go to my PC, open the C drive, then you select the Python 313 location. Yeah. No, actually, yeah, go directly in there. It was trying to install it into program files, but Python normally I just put it in my, it doesn't matter, but I go with this approach so we all have just one way. We install it like this. Then what's the most important thing is say add Python to environment variables. Okay, the environment variables is what is in window that tells the location of binary files when you ask for information about running a program. So you're going to say add Python to environment variables. Leave all this like this, you know, let this all this here. Okay, download debug but requires VS. Okay, just leave this session like this. Okay, just leave everything like this. Let's just run this and then we'll come back if there's any. So then install. Okay, it will asking you, it requires some elevation. Say yes, I want to install it. Okay, so it's asking for elevation, and you say yeah, it's going to now install your Python here. Okay, so installing the Python here. And once that completes, once we have Python, we will go and then we will install Visual Studio Code. So this is Python installing. So the next thing, let Python finish installing. We have Python finish installing. Then we go into our folder for our software. Let's go to our C drive and look for our software. Okay. And then we will now install Visual Studio Code. Okay, that will be the next one. But we let Python complete successfully. Let Python finish install it successfully. And once we have Python installed successfully, we will then install the Visual Studio Code just in a minute. Because we don't want to have multiple things installing at the same time, so they will collide or anything like that. So we just wait for that to complete. And as I said, Visual Studio Code, the Visual Studio Code is the IDE, is integrated development environment. It's a user interface that can be used to write many programming languages. Okay, so Python is a programming language just like a C++, Java, and whatever it is. Those are all programming languages. So the installation is done. Everything is good. We can just say, okay, close. This is good. This is enough. So this is good. We have Python now installed. So if you want to check to see that it's my Python install, you can just go to the command prompt. Command prompt on Windows is what is where you can write commands. Instead of graphical interface, you can write commands to check things. It comes with Windows. All Windows have command prompt. You can just type CMD, and then you see command prompt at the top, or you can click on this and it's the same. You can just type CMD here. It will show you the command prompt. Okay, normally what I'll do is this is a new installation, so I'll just pin the command prompt to my taskbar. Yeah, over here, what these things here are called taskbar. They have all the things that are running. So these are taskbar. So because if I want to quickly have the taskbar and I want to go check it out, yeah, I just go there and click on it, then it will open. But you can still go here, CMD, command prompt, and just click on it. Okay, you can access it anywhere. You can access it from here, or you can just click over it. So when it's here now, I can just click on it, and then it will open for me to see. See, when you open the CMD, it's opening to a particular directory. Say C users academy. That is the directory. So if you go here, C, go Windows, goes to users, go to academy. Because when I set up the virtual machine, I said the name of the user is academy. That's how I set up my virtual machine. So depending on how you set up your virtual machine, the name that you give, that's what you are going to see. Okay, so that's the name you are going to see as the root of you. That is my name. Like if I said Vince as the name when I was setting up my name, then it will say user/Vince. That is what is going to show up. So here, this is command prompt. Command prompt is where you can write the commands to your Windows. So for example, if we say dir, which is the directory list string of the particular location you are, is basically like in this command, I want to see everything in that folder where my account. So if you see this, and if you just open the folder again, if you go to the folder, you go to C drive, you go to Windows, goes to users, academy user. You see the list of these things is the same thing that this command is showing. Okay, see that this command is listing all the things that are here in this particular in a command form. There are a lot of commands to know, right? You can make directories, you can create things at command prompt here, but that is not the point of this lecture. So we just want to see things that are how to use it, how to see things. But what I wanted to see in the command prompt is to check to see if my Python that I installed is actually installed. I mean, it's installed, but this is another way you can check to see. Maybe if you have your laptop, you already have Python on it, you want to check to see if Python is on it, is the same process. So, for example, if I say Python version, okay, if I say Python version, okay, in the command prompt, I just say Python version. I say Python version, and it shows me the version of Python I have, okay. So that is the quickest way you can check softwares that are installed on your system. You go into your system and then you type the command for checking the version for the particular software you are looking for. Most softwares will have that kind of version kind of stuff that you can see is over there. So we have Python installed our system. From command prompt, you can actually call the Python interpreter. Python has an interpreter, means we type things to it, it interprets it, and then be able to generate a result. So when I say Python, now I'm in the Python interface. So this is, we are not going to do, I'm just showing you the Python is now working. So if I say print, a command print is in Python that you can use to write, means write in or print to the output. I say print hello world, that is Python. So Python is working here. If I say enter, you see that it has printed hello world. Okay. And this environment, you can just quit after that. You can just quit. Okay, so I'm back to the root folder where I was. Okay, but so it means Python is there on a machine, Python is working. So that is the first success. So next, you see that I was writing code in this user graphical interface, I mean, this particular command prompt here, but that is not easy. That is not flexible for writing code like this. That is where the IDE is coming. That is where the integrated as I was saying, the Visual Studio Code we are going to install is going to be the graphical interface that can let us write the code in the Visual Studio Code. So that's what we are going to do next to do that. So let's close the command prompt. We don't need it now, no more. So now we are going to install the Visual Studio Code. So let's go next. Next thing is to installing the Visual Studio Code. So we go back to our folder for the academy that I have with the software, and then install the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so Visual Studio Code. Let's go ahead and install the Visual Studio Code. Accept the agreements, and then we go. Let's just install the Visual Studio Code, whatever is installing it. So, or if you want, you can still browse it and say install it in. Yeah, let's just leave it where it's installing. This is the default place for installing app. I don't want to mess with any of this. It's only Python that I care to have a particular place. Everything else, just install it directly over here. So we say next. Say it's going to be Visual Studio Code. Yeah. Then it's going to be next. Okay. So look at this. Select things that you want to create a desktop icon. Yes, right. Create a desktop icon so you can quickly click on it. Over there. You can add open this to Windows. So if there's a file, you can right click and right click and then or left click and then open with Visual Studio. If you like that, just choose this. Okay, register it. Just let this or this be. Or maybe let's take default. Let's take default. Whatever is here default, except saying create a desktop icon. It's not necessary actually. So we have this. We will just say hey. This is all we have. So we say next. Okay, it specifies all the installation details, where it's going to install it, all the options that you chose to install, and then we say click on the install button. So now the install button is going to install everything. It's going to install everything for the Visual Studio. You say setup is preparing to install Visual Studio on your computer. So to do some preparation, they need to do the installation on your computer. Then now, while Visual Studio is ready, we will now be able to write Python code from Visual Studio interface. So let's see what. So as soon as Visual Studio finish installing, we will go to the next thing on our list, which is Academy. So software, the Visual Studio is just running. Let it finish running. Okay, we go to the next thing on Academy, which is Git. Okay, so we have installed Python, we are installing Visual Studio, and the next thing is Git. Okay, Git. So Visual Studio has finished. So say this option, maybe say you want to launch, you say yeah, finish. So let's launch Visual Studio Code and see Visual Studio Code, how it looks like after the installation. It has the icon is here, so you can click on this to open Visual Studio Code directly all the time. as I said, I always like to put things in my taskbar, the most important things I need easily. So the VS Code, I can just click and then say pin to taskbar so that I can quickly always have it here and I can click on it. That's how I like to run my most important apps. I always put it over here. So let's say we have this one here. Visual Studio Code is still launching. Visual Studio Code is launching. Yeah, still launching the Visual Studio Code, I think so. Okay. Okay, then the next thing, let's Visual Studio Code be launching. Let's get going to the next thing we need to install. That way we can keep our things moving fast for the installation. No, what is the other one? Where's our software folder? This computer. Oh, we lost our, what is Academy? Oh, okay. No. Oh, I'm now, okay. I'm supposed to be clicking this one. Okay. So we've installed Visual Studio Code. It's coming. We'll launch it. But now let's go to install Git. Okay, this one. So Git is for version control software. It works in hand with GitHub. GitHub being the interface where you can actually see all your things that are on there. So now we are installing Git. So let's go to install Git. So click on that. Okay. Double click on it. Do you want to allow this app to? Yes. So we say yes to install it. Okay. So let's go install the Git software. Okay. So here, say it gives you information about the licensing for Git. That is what is here. So we say next, we agree to everything, and it's going to install it over there. Tells you how much space it's going to take. Then we say yeah, okay, go ahead. So for the Git, okay, I think this is default. Is good like this. It says Windows Explorer integration, open Git, okay, like file, check daily for Git, add Git bash profile to Windows terminal. Yeah, you can select this. We want Git bash profile to Windows terminal. Yes, so there's option you can select. In Windows terminal you can select, make sure it's here. I'll show you how to use this one later on. Everything else I say it's all good. Say additional icons on desktop. If you want Git, normally you don't need it, but you want to have a Git icon on your desktop, it will put an icon on your desktop. That is good. You don't have to check daily for all this. So everything else is all good. So we can say fine. Then we go and do the installation. Right? Don't create a start menu icon. So no, just leave it like this. Let it create a start menu icon, and then click next. Then here, by default, there's an editor for Git, Vim, but I normally go with Notepad. So we will use Notepad++. Okay. Or you can say Visual Studio Code, but let's use the Notepad++. Notepad++ is default on all Windows. So we can use that. What it says over here is popular. Or we can use Visual Studio Git default editor. Okay, we can use that. So it's Notepad++ not here. See Notepad. Notepad is here. Notepad is a default Windows. Okay, it means that we have to install the Notepad ++ as default. Okay, we don't have option for just regular. No. Okay, so if you go to here, see what is Notepad++. So there is Notepad, which comes with Windows. You can go to Notepad ++ download. Just type in Google what is Notepad ++ download. Okay, and then you can download that. Download Notepad++. Okay. Then this one is very fast. It's just some small editor, so you can download Notepad++. Okay. this was, yeah, so because this is a new virtual Node++ is actually the new fancy notepad, so it's good to have it and you can use it for editing different things. So I just downloaded it quickly by just going to Google and then type of Node++, and then I can then use it for my default for Git over here. This is not seeing it, so let me cancel the Git installation and try to install it again, because I just installed the Notepad++, so it might not be available for the Git to see. So after installing the Notepad++, I went to Google, type Notepad++, install it, because this is fresh, it doesn't have anything on there. This VM is fresh, so it doesn't have the Notepad++. So I go back to Git, right? I go back to Git, and I'm trying to start installing the Git again, okay? After I put the Notepad++ on it, I went back to Git, so I try to just install the Git again, okay? So I go here and then go back, do the same things all over, and then here I can now select use Node++, okay? Yeah, so now that is available, I can now click on this, because the last time I did not install the Notepad++, the option for Nest was not there. That's why I have to go there, quickly install the Notepad++, so that it will be available for me to use. So this, then I say next, okay? You say adjusting the name of the so let Git use it default break currently master for the initial. That's fine, just let Git, or you can just override and say, but don't worry about it. Okay, you can override, because there was some master has some issues, and so now we don't use master anymore. Most of the time we use main. So you can say override the default branch name for new repositories as main. So your main is your default branch. It used to be master mostly, but because of changing some things in terms like master and slave and all that stuff, so it becomes main. So you say main is your default. Just override and say main in your Git. Say next. Okay, now also adjusting your path environment. Say, so these things you use just, whatever default. You say Git from the command line, and also from third-party software. Yes, you can use Git from the command line, and then you can also use for third-party software like from Visual Studio Code. Okay, so that's what we are going to allow for this session. So let's go leave this on this one and then go to next, and then open just say this uses. So this is secure shell connection to Git. So use banded open, whatever comes with it, banded open SSH. Okay, we don't need to understand this is for now, but just select this option. We'll talk about. Then also here, HTTPS transport protocol. So use the native Windows secure, that with this native one. Okay, whatever comes with Windows. Check, yeah, keep default for all this stuff. Default. Oh yeah, you say use Minty. This one, let's use the Windows default console window. This will use the default Windows console, that the CMD, which works well with, yeah, let's use the Windows default console window for this session. Okay, and now let's go next and say fast forward. Yeah, leave these things like this. Git, yeah, credential manager for on desktop or your machine, like Git, your Visual Studio Code will use the credential manager to be able to connect to, if you want to authorize to go to a web browser and authorize to GitHub. So let's Git credential manager will be used. Remember files, system caching. This is all good. This is all good. So we go and then we install our Git. So now let's see, that is the 30. So at the end now, after installing this Git, we have Python, Visual Studio Code, and Git. So now let's see, where is our Visual Studio Code? So I'll just click on the Visual Studio Code in here, Git it installing. Okay, so let Git finish installing. So Visual Studio Code is on its own, Git is on its own, Python is on its own, but we want to see how to connect all these things together to have one system. Okay, it's magical that we have Python, which is installed on the system, and then we have Visual Studio Code. Okay, we have Visual Studio Code. So Git is installed. So Git is installed. You can So as I said, we can check that Git is installed properly. If you just go again to, let's lower the Visual Studio Code. Let's close this. Let's go to the command prompt. Let's now write git version. Git version. You see, now you see Git version is 2.53.0 Windows 1. So yeah, our Git is installed good. So we have our Git on the system. Okay, using the command prompt, you're able to check. So let's go now to, so now we have Git, we have Visual Studio Code installed. So this is Visual Studio Code. This is what we are going to use basically for writing all our Python code in this course. So for these two, we will keep using it and not getting used to it, and then we will get, talking about Visual Studio Code, all the components that will make the lecture too long. So I just want you to see it, and I want you to know that, okay, you have it available so that in the next lectures, we will be using it continuously. So Visual Studio Code, I said, is the IDE, the integrated development environment. I'll just say IDE going forward. It can be used for writing different code for different languages. Python is one of them, Java, C#, whatever it is. Visual Studio can support writing code for it. So we are going to use it to write code for Python in this course. So we set it up. Now we set up Visual Studio Code, right? We have it ready. So for example, I want to write one program in Visual Studio Code today to show that, okay, I have my Visual Studio. It can talk to my Python and I am good to go. So one thing I normally do is when I'm going to write my programs, we are not there yet, but I create something in Python. We call it a virtual environment. So we are just going to start from that scratch, like it's up in the lectures, but let's just, a virtual environment in Python, it allows you to install packages in a particular folder that you can use for your work, so that it separates it from the rest of the system. So if you don't have a virtual environment, everything you are installing will just be going into the entire system. So because you can have different versions of Python packages and even Python, if you start by just creating everything in a virtual environment and keep them in that environment, and then anytime you don't want them, you just delete that folder and it's gone. And any new project you are doing, you can create a virtual environment for that project only. So I'm going to show an example. So you test this on your end and see how it works. So we have the Python is here. We have the Visual Studio Code. So now what I want to do is, all right, if I want to create a Python code for something, let's say today the goal is simple. I want to just create a hello world program, okay, and have it somewhere. So let me just close Visual Studio Code. This is Visual Studio Code. Let me just minimize it, okay? All right, I want to create a program that's a hello world in Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code, the best thing is you write your code, okay? So for the benefit of those who are using the Academy, okay, the virtual boss and the VM is going to be the same for those who are using regular their desktop. So let's create a folder in this Academy folder, and then let's call this folder, like, let's say this folder is, okay, let's say I want to create a project. Let's call it my first project. Okay, my first project. Okay, so this is my first project, or let's just call it the project is called Hello World. The project name is Hello World. Okay, so Hello World is your project. Okay, so I say Hello World. I call the folder Hello World. Okay, this is my project. So you have different projects, so you put all your projects here. You can create a folder, if you want to get a little bit more organized. But yeah, it's not worth it. You can create a folder called projects and then put everything in there. But I just want to directly put, my projects in this particular Academy folder. Okay, I'm in my academy folder. So once I'm in my academy folder, this is my academy, I'm putting all my project, my software, the installations are here, and I put every project I'm going to create in the academy folder. Okay, I'm going to create project. So the first project I'm creating is Hello World. Okay, so you just create a folder and name the folder Hello World. Okay, that's all you do here in the academy folder. So now that I have that folder available in my academy folder, I'm now going back into Visual Studio Code. Okay, once I'm in Visual Studio Code, so Visual Studio Code, this is the welcome screen. When you start Visual Studio, it gives you the welcome screen. Okay, and it has some things here. Use AI features for Copilot for free. Now I want to not start using AI for beginning. We want to just, you can just select everything here, choose team. I don't want to watch videos, so I don't want to watch videos. All good. So your team, choose your team. Okay, the teams are here. I'm using dark mode or light mode. For this session, I think let's stick with light mode. Light mode will make it look like this. So let's stick with light. For me, you can use dark mode, which will make your screen like this, but I think light mode might make it easier for people to see some things. So depend on your side. So I'm using light mode. So light mode make things a little bit easy for me. So I go to choose teams. You can browse for more teams, but teams that are here for me are okay. So I just choose light mode. Okay, that's what I'm choosing. Okay, use AI features with Copilot for free. So just let that be there. We learn how to use the AI. The AI is what comes on this part. So we learn how to use AI for writing code in this course as well. But just leave that one over there for now. But if you don't want to start using AI now, just let's disable the AI so that we don't have the AI. You can come back and reset all this stuff. It's not like the end of it, right? You can come back and these things can be set again. Okay. All right. So learn from code. This is all good. Yeah, we don't need to just leave everything like this and mark everything down. We are done. So it's set up. Okay, we have a Visual Studio Code. It's ready to go. Okay, so when you come to your home screen, it says show welcome page on startup. This is the startup page. If you choose this option, this will always open up like this if you don't have any project open. So we leave it like this. Excuse me, we leave it like this as it is. And then what we do is now we want to go and open our Hello World folder. And then that will become our project, right? That will become our project. So the file is here. Something can be confusing. If you are working with the virtual machine, this might be confusing for you. So there's an option to show the menu bar and don't show the menu bar for the virtual machine, because I keep trying to click on that one. So I disable that one so that I don't see the menu bar for the virtual machine. Okay, but now this is my Visual Studio. I'm in my Visual Studio Code, and I have file option, edit, selection, all these at the top. So I'll go to the file option at the top in Visual Studio, and then I'll go down to open folder. See the open folder? You can also use the key combination Control K plus. But just open folder, click on open folder. So once you click on the open folder, you are going to navigate. If it's not directly here, you are going to go and search for your academy folder, whatever it is, your academy folder. Whatever it is, you go look for it and then select the folder that I said the project is going to be Hello World. So I select that folder. So I have selected the folder. Okay, so you see now, you say, do you want to trust this? Yeah, say trust folders, all the folders here. So I say yes. Trust my folder. Yes, trust it. That means that it will be trusted. And you can close now. You can close the welcome page. This is the welcome. So now you have your folder. Okay, you now have your folder in Visual Studio Code. So this folder is where down you add files. You add different files to do different things for you. To write different code, like you want to write a Hello World or you want to write a different application, this is where it's going to go. Okay, it's going to go. So For example, if I want to create one folder for hello world, it will just print hello world. Okay, so I create a file. You see at the top we have file, and then we have a new folder option, right? We have file, then we have new folder option. Okay, so if we go here, see file, then we have new folder. Okay, at the top over there. Let's see if I can make this screen a little bigger here. So you see a file, new file, and then new folder. So when I click on new file, I'll give the name of the file. Okay, so if I say the file is hello world, is hello, then I have to give the extension. Oh yeah, let's say hello world. This is the name of the file. Yeah, I'll give the extension of the file. Py. Okay, Python files have extension .py for Python script files, and then notebooks, which we'll talk about later, have the extension IPython notebook, IPYNB. But Python files, when you create a Python file, you create the file name and you put the extension .py. That means it's a Python file. So after that you enter. So now you enter this. So now it's a .py. Okay, now this is where it is. Now Visual Studio Code is saying that I need to install extension Python from Microsoft for the Python language. So because this is the first time I'm using Visual Studio in here, I need to add a Python extension to the Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code operates using extensions. So if you go to Visual Studio Code, you see on this side, so the first thing is Explorer. The next thing is to search. So this is Explorer. It shows you all your files you have. This is the Explorer session. The Explorer session shows you all the files. Search is to search across your Visual Studio system here. And then we have source control, which is going to connect to GitHub, which we'll talk about later on. And then this is how to debug codes or running, but let's forget about. But then what I wanted to talk about is the extensions. As I was saying, extensions help Visual Studio work with different things, programs, languages. And for Python to work, the extension that we need is Python in Visual Studio Code. This is an extension that helps you write Python code in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so we will say, so for this, you know, if it's not showing here, you just type Python at the top. Okay, you type Python at the top, it will show you all the extensions that are for Python. So but you say for this one, we say we're looking for Python, and we say the one that says Microsoft. Okay, this is the Python language support with extension access point for a lot of intelligent. Yeah, so we are choosing Python here. You see, it has so many downloads. A lot of people use Python, so we will choose this. Okay, we choose Python. Okay, we will take this. So we say, you see, if you want to install the extension, you see this, say install the button. You click on the button, say install. Okay, now when I click on the button that you should install, you see now that this is installing. Okay, and there's the option here to update this extension. So this extension now will be installed. Okay, you can read more about the extension when you go down. You can click down, okay, to read more Python extension for Visual Studio Code, and you can read the details about what it is. Okay, yeah. So look at this. You say this extension will automatically install the following extension by default to provide the. There are some default things it needs to install. It's just going to automatically install it. Get started with Python first. So the extension needs to install. Just that's the welcome screen for that extension. So once the extension is installed, okay, you see that when we install the extension, it automatically installs additional extensions that it needs to work together. These three, all of these now are installed. Okay, if an extension is installed, when you click on it, it will say it will give you it is installed, so you can uninstall it. You know, something like, you see all these are all automatically installed because when we choose the Python, it needs all the three of these, but when we install it automatically install the other two. So now we have what we have now. We have capability to write Python code. Okay, so if you look at this, this is our hello world. Let's go and turn off suggestions. This is GitHub. Okay, let's yeah. This is just AI trying to auto generate code and whatever it is. You start typing, the AI will do. This is something we had. We had this. We'll talk about the AI side later. Let's just focus on this. So now, because we have installed the extension, look at the bottom here. It says the language is Python, and it's automatically picking the Python that we have installed. Remember, we installed the Python, and it's installed in that location over there, right? So now, if we write Python code in this file, is going to run using the Python that we have installed over there. So let's just go here now and type print. Remember, we are typing print in the command prompt. So let's go and say print hello world. Okay, print hello world. Okay, that's all we want to write, print hello world. Okay, that is our first program we just written. We say print hello world. Okay, now this is there. Okay, now that we have our print hello world, there is option to, you see the end over here, you can run the file. Okay, say run Python file. So let's close the extension box over here to make things clearer. So you click on the file, you see, so this is how you can navigate. The file is here, everything has buttons, you click on it and they will open. So now we are in the file session. If you click on it, it will show only the file. If you click on it, it will give the explorer and the file, and then you have the file. So we want to have it like this. We are in the hello world project. We created a file called hello.py, and that file we write the Python code that say print hello world. Okay, I'm going to show you how to run this to see the result in here. So I said there's option here. You can run it from here. Okay, and if you run it from there, it's going to use the Python that we installed over here to work. Okay, now I say run. When I click on run, look what the magic happened. It opened a terminal and executes the hello world, and what I say it should print, it has printed it. Okay, it has printed the string hello world. Okay, now look at this command. Don't worry about this. Is Python behind the scene doing something we call, is using the terminal. Is using PowerShell, and is using PowerShell going into the folder of hello world, and then is calling the Python that I've installed in my C Python, that Python. So if you go to Python that I've installed, if you go to the C drive, I install Python over here, right? So it's calling this Python application to run from there. Okay, so it went there and it's calling that Python as application, and then it's calling the file to run this file. So that looks like a lot of things happening, but that is how the code is written. So here I clicked on this to run that particular file, right? But also, if you look at this, okay, now I am in this particular folder. If you see, this PowerShell script is the command. You see, I'm in Z hello world. So if you say dir here, it will list all the things that are in this directory, right? So you say dir data directory. You say this is the directory name, and then it gives you information about the things that are in the directory. Basically, if you go to the hello world folder, you see that the hello world file that I've created now is in that folder. So if you go in there into here, let's go here, go to hello world, you see that this is here. So that is what is showing up in here. You see that it's now there. The file is there. So whatever it is you can use the command prompt to do things, as I was saying. Another command prompt here we are using is called PowerShell. PowerShell is one of the command scripting things that come with Windows. Very powerful language. People write it for a lot of administration work, PowerShell, but we are not here to learn the PowerShell yet. So our goal is to just understand. So automatically, when we click on the run Python, it shows PowerShell. So PowerShell was used, and then it automatically know how to run it to get the file. But there's another way you can actually run the same thing. Now we are already in this location. You can just say Python. So if you say just say Python, Python is like saying use Python program but to run. But maybe on Mac you might have to say Python 13 or something like that. But Python is saying use Python to run my code. So I can say Python. I say hello.py. Okay. Python hello.py. Okay. Because I'm already in the folder. You can call Python because Python is already added as a global application in my system. When I was installing it, I say add Python to the variable path on the machine. So it's available. When I say Python, it's going to call this Python that I've installed and is there. That's what it's going to call. And I say hello.py because I am already in this folder, in the hello word folder. When I say hello.py, it knows that this is the file I need to run. So when I say Python execute this file, it's going to execute the instruction that is in the file. And the instruction in the file says print hello world. Okay, so that is how it goes. That is how you can write your first code in VS Code. So we learned today, we connected it to Python that we installed on our system. We are able to write code and see the code, something come up. Okay, so this is great success. We have written our first code using our Python. So we will keep it like this. The next thing I wanted to do is actually teach about how we can actually connect our Python, our code, our everything here to GitHub. Okay, that is going to be the next step, right? Yeah. So we have Git installed. Remember, we have installed our Git. Okay. Let's set up our Git and let's set up our GitHub. So in the orientation, I have introduced how to sign up for GitHub. If you don't have GitHub sign up, just go to GitHub. Okay. Go to GitHub. Say. So we have Python setup. We have Python setup. We have Python setup here. We have our first hello world and Visual Studio together here working. So I want to leave that here like this. And what I want to do is I want to now go to, let me pin my Chrome here to my taskbar so it's easy for me to get it to work. Okay. So if you don't have GitHub set up, because now we are going to work with GitHub. Okay, we're going to work with GitHub. So in the orientation, I taught how to go to GitHub. If you are looking for the GitHub link, it's still in the, if you go to the Teams folder, in our Teams folder, if you go to here, our page here, if you just go in here, the GitHub link is here. So you can just go to github.com, see github.com and sign up. Okay, that's what you're going to do. So let me just go in my in the virtual machine that I'm working in. So I'm in my virtual machine. I have my Visual Studio Code over there. I just want to show to go to github.com, go to github.com. Yeah, this is github.com and sign up. Click sign up. Okay, the email, you put your email, your password. It has put your email, your password, your username that you use. It has some restrictions here. Okay, it has to be 15 The name has to be alphanumeric, okay, and then you select your region. You don't have to select, then you create account. Once you create account, it's going to send you some code in your email, and then the next step is you copy that code and then put it into your GitHub. That's how you set up for GitHub. So that GitHub setup, you set up over there and have that information and get it ready because you are going to use it. The name for me, I have it set up. Let me show that over here. So if I go to GitHub, github.com, I have it set up and I have my information. Then username I use is Vincent-America. And then I will use that in the next session to see how we can connect everything to GitHub. Okay, so that's going to be our next thing. So I have my GitHub set up already. So I'm going to connect. I'm going to set up Git. Okay, so let's go to. So Visual Studio Code is here. Let's put the Visual Studio Code here. Okay, we have installed Git. So you can go to Git Bash or Git command prompt. Let's go. You see this? This here is the command for is Git what's it? Git its own command prompt. The command prompt for Git is called the Git Bash. Okay. So what I'm going to do now in this particular session is I want to first of all connect. Let's make this bigger. So I want to set up my Git with my account information. That is my username and my username and my email. Okay, so that if I'm doing commits, it will know who I am and then what is my email. So that's how you have to set that up with command after you have installed your Git. You have to set that command up, and that command I have it here. It's called git config. That's that username. But let me just go and show you. It's in my Gemini. Gemini is my tool. If you want to use Gemini to find in this information, just go to Gemini as I normally do. Go to Gemini and say set up Git with my username and email command. Okay, this is the latest way of finding information quickly. So Gemini will give you directly, it will give you the command. You see, this is the command. So you copy this command, git config global user for your Git. So I copy that, I put it in my this. Okay, let me see. It's Git. It's over here again. Let's see again. It's git config. Okay. Git config global user.name, then your name, and then git config global user.name, then your email. The email that you use to sign up for GitHub. Okay. So you have to remember is the email that you use to sign up for your GitHub. So as a git config dash, so you put user.name, then you put your name. So my name is Vincent America, right? I put my name, do that. Okay. Okay. Let's do this in CMD. Let's do this with command prompt. Okay. Git config dash user.name Vincent or okay. Okay, let's do something. Let's set up our Git first. Okay. Set up the Git first. Let's do this. We use the option to set up the Git. Switch your Git industry. Okay. Set this. Git config global. Oh, yeah, this is git config global. Okay. So I'm messing up the command. you say git config. So this is global. Okay, git config global. So check it. Git config global. So global means is every repository will use the same thing. So let's try that again. Git config dash dash global user dot name. Okay, we are going to use that one in our code. Okay, so we go git config global here. See here, global. Okay, okay, we are setting global. So the other one, it was failing because we didn't put global. So he was expecting that we have to be in a particular repository. A repository is where you keep all your files. And the next one is user.email. Okay, you go back here, you can quickly see that it's in here for us. First one is user, and then the next one, user.email, you put your email. So then this one is user, the same user.email. So the email I use for this, I think is this live. Yeah, I think that's what I use here. So then I will just click enter. So now I have configured my global Git so that if I am, the name, let me just reset my username is Vincent Amadeka. I'm not Vincent, not Amadeka. Okay, like this. So you can always update this by going back and run the command again. It will update it. So now I have set up my user and email information, so Git knows. So that's all I have to do with Git. That's all you need for Git. Once you have this done, then you close Git. You don't need to do anything over there. Okay, now we have this information. We now have Git. We now have GitHub. We have Git. We configure our username and email in Git on our local engine of Git. Let me open my GitHub from this page so I can see. So go to github.com. Okay, this is my GitHub. GitHub is the platform, is the place where you can go in the UI and check all your code, all your repositories there, the UI interface. So I'm signing in. So here, I'm signing in here to go into my GitHub. So you also sign in when you are here so that you know that you can actually access your GitHub. Okay, so this is my GitHub account. You see, it's empty. There's nothing in here. So it's just empty here, empty. I have no repo. This is new. I created this during the orientation. So it's new. I can see that it's working. Okay, so fine. I can connect to it. Now, this is the big one. We are going to now push our project, our code for our hello world that we have. We are going to now push that code from our computer into GitHub. Okay, the goal is, if let's say the computer crash or anything happen, we still have the code available for us in GitHub. So we can go back and have access to that code and restore the code and reuse it. So we have this code on our screen, on our desktop, the hello world project we created. We want to put that code into GitHub. So watch for the magic. Cool. So we set up the Git with our username and password. So now you're going back again. Let's go back here and look at the side of in Visual Studio Code. We have this, we have the second one, then go to the third one, which is what? This one is the connection that connects you to do a repository on your desktop. A repository is where you keep changes and their history locally and also in GitHub. So if you change things locally, you push them into GitHub. You change things locally, you push them into the GitHub system so that it will be stored there permanently for you. So even if your local one crashes, you don't have to worry about it. So that is what a repository means. So what is happening now is we are going to initialize our hello world as a repository so that we can add things to it, we can push it to GitHub and it will be there for us. So see this. See, now it says the current folder open doesn't have a Git repository. In order to keep the version control, you have to initialize it first. If you are creating it locally, you have to initialize that repository, and then you can push it to GitHub. If you are getting it from GitHub, then there's a different approach. We'll talk about that later on, where you can clone it from GitHub onto your own local and work on it, and after that you can push your changes. So, but right now we are starting from fresh. We are just going, excuse me, we are just going to initialize the copy of our folder for our Hello World project, and then it will become available, and we push it to GitHub. It will go in our GitHub and we can see it over there. So we are going to click on initialize repository. Okay, we are going to click on the initialize repository. So let's go here. We say initialize repository. See, so click initialize repository, right? So the detailed Git repository is potentially as if as the folder is owned by someone other than the current user. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about that. Yeah, hello world. Yeah, this one. Okay, so trust the folder, because this is always things are messing up. So trust it, because we have it in my, because I'm using the VM. I have created the folder using my own local machine. So I own it on that side. Then I am in the VM doing things in that particular folder. So it's telling me, hey, this is unsafe because somebody created it and I'm trying to, but all good. If you're not using VM, you will not find this issue. So look what happened. The moment I have, the moment I have created a Git repository by initially a Git repository in my, for my Hello World project, now Git has started tracking things. It will start tracking changes I have made, okay, to my Hello World project. You see, it's saying changes. You see Hello World. You see, it's saying that, hey, there is one file in this particular place, okay, in this particular folder. So we have to make sure that this file is tracked and add into GitHub. So that is why it's saying currently it's not tracked. So you see, when I click add, is to stage it so that it will start tracking it, But let's wait. I want you to see how it is. So now I have created my local Git repository, okay, as my Hello World project. I've created my local Git repository. Okay, so what happened now is this is local, and I can say, hey, I want to commit that locally, that I have added my Hello World, world, the file hello.py. So I want to, so when you make changes, you commit them in GitHub. It's called, the term is called, you are committing them. And we are doing all of this in the UI. So when you are committing, you see, you are still on this. You see, you're on this. You see, these changes are here, and I want to commit it to the Git repository I have. You see, it gives you changes. It gives you a message that you will write that will tell what these changes you made. Okay, so these changes, I'm just initializing my project for the first time. So I might say initialize. This is a message, any message you want to give can be offered. Initialize repository, okay, and add hello, hello.py file. Okay, anything you write here it just have to be a message that can help you or somebody else to remember what happened here. So, and after that, I'll click on commit. Okay, commit. So now, they said there are no stage changes to commit. Would you like to stage all your changes and commit them directly? It means that you see, so these changes, I have not actually clicked on the button to stage them. Stage means that you are adding them in order to commit them. When you make changes, you have to stage them, then you commit them. So I say yes, always. If so, I don't want to be staging each file. I want to say always you should stage the changes I make and commit them. So I'll select this option. Say, would you like to stage all your changes and commit them directly? Let me make this a little bigger over here. Oh, this is not getting better. So I'll say always stage my changes and then commit them directly. So I say always, I choose the always option over there. Okay. Now, Now that I have the changes committed in my local Git repository, I need these changes to go to GitHub. I need to push it to the GitHub system so that I can see them on GitHub. Okay, so that concept is said you are now publishing it. So it's you work in branches. I don't want to go a little bit too deep into it now, but we're working in a branch currently. When we set up our Git, we say main, so we are in the main branch. That's the only branch we have now, and we added some project into that main branch, and it's everything is local. So right now we need to publish it so that it will go and be on the remote GitHub server so that we can see it in the GitHub server. I think that so this is where you're going to say publish main branch. Okay, at this time we have not connected to GitHub yet. We are still working locally. So now that we want to publish the branch, is now going to connect us to our GitHub account that we set up. So when I say publish, it says the extension wants to sign in using GitHub. Yes, I want to sign. There are two ways you can do this. You can sign into GitHub first before doing this. Maybe that approach might make more sense. Let me just say cancel this. Okay, cancel this. You see, if you go to your left, to the left here, we have accounts. Okay, you see accounts in your Visual Studio Code. Okay, in the left corner over there, we have accounts. Okay, so what we will do is we will now log into GitHub from our account using Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio already know our account in GitHub, and we will always be able to publish to our account in GitHub. So I'll click on accounts. Okay, and it says sign in. Oh, why is this UI? Yes, okay, let's say sign in. Okay, click on sign in. I don't want all AI these things to be showing to confuse anybody, but we are just trying to sign it into GitHub. So continue with GitHub. Remember before I already signed in my GitHub in here. Okay, it make it easy when I already sign it in GitHub and I'm trying to connect in my Visual Studio Code. It can automatically connect because it has the connection. But if not, it will ask you to log in. Let's go next. So it says connect, continue with GitHub. It means I want to log in using my GitHub account information. You can do different things, but we want to continue to use GitHub with GitHub. Okay, now look, it's now trying to log into my GitHub. Okay, because I've already signed into GitHub here, so it's using that. If you haven't signed in, it will ask you to sign in into GitHub. But that's why I signed into GitHub. I know my GitHub is working, my account is working, and now I'm authorizing a connection between my Visual Studio Code and the GitHub system. So now it asks me, okay, do you want to sign in with the account I already signed? That's what the account I already signed in over here. So you say, hey, do you want to sign in with that account? Yeah. So that's exactly what I want to do. I want to sign in with this account that I'm already in GitHub in this account, right? So I'm just continuing in this session. I'm saying, hey, yes, I want to continue with this account to sign my Visual Studio. So Visual Studio Code will connect to my GitHub. So I say continue. Yeah. So that's all you have to say, continue here. And if you have another GitHub account, then you have to use a different account. But I have only one for this lecture. So I'm going to say continue. So that I say continue is going to tell you, hey, these are the things that Visual Studio is going to have access to once you link your Visual Studio and your GitHub. Okay. So now that I'm going to go here, it tells you, hey, it's going to have access to your everything. Yeah. Say yeah. Authorize Visual Studio Code to have the access to it. So I'll click on it and say authorize Visual Studio Code. So now, yeah, that's right. Now that I have the Visual Studio, now Visual Studio now is connected to my account. Okay, it's connected to my AI is here every day now, so it's always popping up. But in this beginning lecture, we take down the AI, leave the AI there. So we can just focus first on how to write the Python code and become very good with the code. Then we can use AI in the upcoming sessions. So now I connected my GitHub. So if you go here, you can see my GitHub is connected. It's connected. I have my GitHub. Okay. So now I want to publish my branch, my repository that I have created for Hello World. So I'm going to publish that now. And they say the station wants to say allow. Yes, this is here. So now you see, because I already signed in with sign into GitHub, the option is already here to select my account that I've signed in. Otherwise, I have to do the whole process now. So because I already signed into GitHub account, I just select my name that I wanted to connect to GitHub with. So with that, I then have access to publish the code to GitHub. Yeah. So now I'm trying to publish this branch. My Hello World folder is the branch. It's the repository. It's called a repository. So you see, I am publishing to GitHub private repository, or I'm publishing to a public repository. So there are two types of repositories you create. One is private and one is public. When you make it public, it means anybody can have a look at it. Okay. When you make it private, it means only you or people that you add to your system will be able to have a look at it. So that's the difference. But this repository, I am publishing it as, let's say, public. Okay, so is there anything reason why I should not put, let's say, I want to, it's my personal thing. I don't have to share it with anybody. If I want to share it with somebody or some other people outside to look at it, then I'll say make it public. But this is private. I don't want anybody to have access to it. So now the magic is happening. The code that I have on my machine, the project, the repository, local repository, is now trying to publish to GitHub. So it's asking me, hey, you sign in. It says sign in again. Yeah, sign in with your browser. Okay, I'm going to sign in with my browser. It's going to open up GitHub. It's going to say, here, you are trying, we are going to authorize this. It takes your API, whatever it is, it's trying to authorize so that it will connect to GitHub. I say, yes, authorize the system so that the connection, and this is what we call the credential manager. The credential manager is part of your system connecting your account credentials to GitHub. So you remember when we are installing Git, we are mentioning a place where we have credential manager. This is where it plays. It's able to connect your machine information to sync up with GitHub so that it will trust that you are the one creating the repo or trying to access using your machine. So with that, the credential manager is able to connect us into GitHub, and then we are able to publish our code into GitHub successfully. So let me see something. So it says the message here, successfully published here. You see, it is successfully now published over there. And I can open GitHub, okay? So voila. Now, when I go into my account and I go to repositories, I have my Hello World repository there. So this is coming from my computer and now it's in GitHub. So when I click inside this folder, I will see my file. That's a Hello World. So this is the file that I write print Hello World inside, and now it's in GitHub. So that is how you can have things on your desktop and be able to push it to GitHub, and so that if you want to share with people, if you want to make it public so everybody can have access to it, so it's the same process. So we went through the process, create folder locally, make it a Git repository locally, connect our Git account, and then we are able to publish it to GitHub. And that is one way that most software development is done. People are always creating repositories that they work with other people and do another. You can create even the repository directly in here. So as I'm here, I'm in GitHub. You see, I'm in GitHub. GitHub, this is the work. I mean, you see your name. When you click, you see your name. This is it. You see your name, right? You can directly go to repositories. That shows all the repositories that you have will show here. Okay, it will show here. If you want to create a new one, you see the button is here. There's a button, you say new. Okay, if I say new, so if I say new, I'm creating the repository first in GitHub. Okay, you can create the repository in GitHub and then get a copy from your desktop, or you can create a folder and everything on your desktop and then initialize the repository on your desktop and then publish it into GitHub. It works any other way. Normally, any way you normally people go and create it in GitHub and then get a copy, or they go and clone some existing one in GitHub and then get a copy. So let's show the method where we will create the repository already in GitHub and we will get a copy onto our local system so we can work on it. Okay, so let's say we want to create a repository called phishing. Okay, I don't know, it's crazy, but let's say we want to create a project for so we want to create a project for analyzing supply chain. Okay, supply chain, supply chain, like you know how things move around in the industry. So we want the repository. So you give it a name. You see, you are the owner. It's showing that you are the owner. You give it a name. So let's say the name is supply chain. Supply chain analysis. It's your own repo. Whatever you are writing here, that name is yours. So it's in your own repo, so you know it is. So I'm giving that name. Let's say, let's make it a little bigger. So I want to call it supply chain analysis. That is the repo I want to create in my GitHub account. Okay. So if I want to create this in my GitHub account as a supply chain analysis, okay, I can give the description for the repo. Okay, this repo analysis supply chain for fictional store. Okay, for a fictional store or some, yeah, something like that. Okay, so anything you want to give, this has nothing to do with what we are doing. It's just, and then you choose the visibility. So now remember when we are trying to publish first our when we're trying to publish, it was asking us how we want to publish with private or public, right? But here, when you're doing it directly in GitHub, you have that option to say, hey, I want this to be public or I want it to be private. So say I'm choosing private for my supply chain analysis repo. So you can have different type of visibility. You have private repos and public repos. All of them can be in here. So I choose visibility private for this supply chain analysis. You can say add readme. We'll talk about all this, but just leave this. You can say add readme. Yes, you can say yes. I leave this like this. Git doc. Yeah, no need to worry about this. But I just like to. So I'm writing Python. So I'll choose Python. Yeah. So git.ignore files are files that you put on in your application that help you avoid sending some things into GitHub. Like if you have API key, you have password, something in the location you are building the code, you don't want to send them into GitHub. There's a file called .gitignore that you can add those type of file extensions in there so that it will not send it to GitHub for you. They'll be in your folder, but they will not be sent over there. Okay, README is just a file that you can create about your project. So you see, you can write things about what actually the project is about. That is called the README in GitHub. Okay, so that's what it is. Then we are going to create the repository. So now we are creating the repository in GitHub. Okay, so we create the repository in GitHub. So now you see, this is our repository we created. So if you go back to your account, you now and go to your repositories, you see now we have two repositories. We have supply chain analysis and we have hello world. But we only have the hello world locally. So what I want to show to you is how can I get this supply chain analysis to my local desktop so that I can work on it. Okay, that's actually something nice to do. So I don't have the supply chain analysis. It's only on GitHub. I need a copy. I need to bring it down to my local place so that I can write code and push changes. So you see that now when I open it, I don't really have anything but the default files that GitHub provided for me. Okay, but I want to bring it down to my machine so that I can write code and then I will commit it into GitHub. So I'm going to go into my Visual Studio Code here. Okay, so my Visual Studio Code is still here, and my Visual Studio Code is still here, and I am still in my Hello World project. So let's say I'm done with the Hello World project today. I need to work on another project from GitHub, and that project, I don't have a copy already on my desktop, so I need to go and get it from GitHub. So if you already have it on your desktop, you already done it, then you just open it. But now I don't have it already on my desktop. The project is only available on GitHub. Maybe somebody else put it over there. Or in this case, we created the repository first and it's on GitHub. So I need to get a copy and I need to put it on my machine so that I can write code and make changes and push it over there. So this is, watch this. You are going to the source control. This source control is the version control link in Visual Studio Code. So when I go and I click on it, okay, when I click on this source control, so this source control, you click on it over here, right? It's showing you what you currently have, but you say, hey, I don't want to work on that. I need to work on something different, okay? So let me close this one. Let me close this project first. Okay, let's go back. See this project, I'm going to file. I want to close it because this is open. It's open. So I want to close this completely first. Then I'll work on a different project. Okay, so I go to file and I say close the workspace, which is where? Close the folder. You see, close folder. So I close the folder and I bring Visual Studio to, new, almost new. You can just cancel that. So now I want to now go and get, my repository that I created in Visual Studio Code to local. So I will go into the repository. You see, I click on this now, the source control sign. So see what happened. Clone repository, open folder. So clone repository means that the repository is on GitHub and I want to clone it to my machine so that I can work on it. Open folder means that it's on my desktop and I want to just open it. So I'm going to clone the repository this time from GitHub and have a copy on my desktop. So I click on clone repository. Okay. Then when I click on clone repository, it gives a clone from GitHub. Okay. So if you click clone from GitHub, okay, because I'm logged into GitHub, my account, my Visual Studio Code have access to my account. I can click, let's go back again. Let's go back. Okay, clone repository. There are two ways you can do it. You can directly put the URL of the repository just here directly, but I want to show it. But for example, if the repository is in somebody's account, you have to get the, let's do that one first. Say the repository is somebody's account, whatever it is, you have to get the URL for the repository like this. Say this is the URL for the repository. You have to get it like this. Okay, you can do it for your own or for somebody's. You have to get the URL. Once you go to the repository, you click on the repository name, it will give you the URL that you can use to clone that repository. So I copy this, okay, I copy that repository. I can just come here now to clone repository, then I can put the repository in there. So automatically it's going to say it's going to clone this URL, okay, and then when it's going to clone it, it's going to ask you where do you want to save this repository on your local machine. Okay, as I'm working in my academy folder, I want to clone this repository in my academy folder here so that it will be together with my academy folder. So because once I clone it here, for those who are using the VM like this, it will also be available on your personal, on the regular machine, and you can work there, or you can work in the VM. So Yeah, so I select here that I want to clone it here. So now watch. Now the GitHub, the code is not being downloaded from GitHub system onto my desktop, onto my laptop. He said, would you like to open the repository? Because now the repository has been downloaded. So when I say, and it's copied into that location in the academy, so I can just say, open the repository. So voila, I have now opened my supply chain analysis. It's now on my desktop and it's showing up in my Visual Studio Code, and I can write things and then update it. So to quickly finish up this lecture, let's go and create new file in the supply chain. You see the new file option, and I say demand. Let me just call this demand.py. Okay, this is the file. Okay, and I want to say I want to write something here. We are not doing all the things. Say print. You just want to say something like print. Okay, say okay, demand analysis initiated is just a string. There's nothing going here. Don't mind anything. This is just something we want to see. Okay, now I have created a file called demand, and I print inside demand analysis initiated, and I can run it just like I ran the other file, run Python file, and I'll see that it will print demand analysis initiated here. You see, so here. So it's just a print statement to see this. So you see now that I have, what I have done now is that I got the repository from GitHub and I have added a file to it. This file is just now on my desktop. So I need to now commit this file back into GitHub so that it will be available over there. So how do we do that? If you go back here, okay, don't worry about this. Yeah, because the folder is still in the VM, so it's saying you need to do that. So I went back and I tried to now, you see what I did? I went back and I tried to click on this, and it said manage and save. I said manage it. The folder is fine. So now I have added a new file. It says a new file. It shows that this file has been added. The other files that came from GitHub in the beginning, I did not change anything about it. So it's just showing that now I have added a new file. So I can add a message and say, hey, added, this is message that you use. It's called the commit message. Added demand.py file, or whatever feature you added here. We'll talk about this, but I'm saying the message here, the message is showing that, okay, then I'll commit it. Okay, when I commit it, it's now in my local Git repository. So I need to sync the local Git repository to GitHub repository. So I will now click on sync changes. Yes, so sync up we'll talk about later, but just click this and this will push your code into GitHub. Then let's go back to GitHub and look and see if the demand.py file we added locally is now showing in GitHub. So we go back to GitHub, go to our repositories, say check repositories here. Our analysis, supply chain analysis is here, and then go back and see, voila, the file is there. That is our demand.py file is there. If you open it, you open this file, you see it's the same content that it has on our desktop. It's now in GitHub. So we went from to end this particular lecture, we went from installing our Python, our Git, and then Visual Studio Code, and we are able to write our first project locally, create our first project locally, connect it with Git. We configured Git itself with a configure for email and our username, and then we are able to connect all with GitHub and connect our account to GitHub, publish our first project to GitHub, and also we went to GitHub, we create a repository in GitHub, and then we come back to our Visual Studio and we are able to pull down that repository using the clone method. And once we pull it down, we created a one file demand.py in that repository, and then we commit the changes that we have locally and push them into GitHub, and we are able to see those changes in GitHub. So that actually is an interesting accomplishment. So if you are able to get up to this place, so now you are ready to start actually writing code. So I will say, great job, great job, great job. In the next lecture, we will actually go into working on code for Python. So we are now ready to start working on code. Okay. Thank you, and then have a good one.